Hello and welcome to episode 180. My name is here. It is a regular episode once again.
Yeah, you really kind of skipped over that Ritz is here. I've been out for a month.
Yeah, he has.
3 weeks and change. What's happened in the last? Who could possibly say?
Look, I'm not saying I was tying your country together, but I mean,
it's your fault Kamala didn't win there, Ritz. What did you do with the 10 million missing votes?
Trump hasn't won a presidency whilst I've been active on this podcast.
Yeah.
The last time you took a big break was 2020, though. Huh.
Interesting.
I'm just every 4 years. It's like the Olympics.
Oh, where'd my vape go?
That's the real Olympic. Vape when you
20 million Democratic votes missing, and 25 million of Trix's vapes missing.
More than that, honestly.
They're all taken by the gremlins.
What the fuck are socks? I'm gonna be honest, I haven't worn socks in years.
This used to be a music podcast.
Like most podcasts, eventually we just start talking random shit.
Fun.
Yeah, we haven't even tried to start this episode normally. It's great. And there's the usual Trix microphone. We're back to normal, baby.
Trix, whatever you did, it's really not.
Yeah, it's getting worse. Yeah. It's great. Well, once Trix gets that sorted,
I was coughing. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay, so whilst Trix was dying, Dominic, what are we covering this week?
Right. The last 3 or so weeks, Ritz made us listen to Ceres' Magic. If I don't make Love You.
Yep.
Similarly bold. Picked ScHoolboy Q, of course.
Hi, kitty.
Monty is here too, but he's being aloof right now.
I don't have a cat, but I have a girlfriend that meows.
Oh, yeah. Aside from ScHoolboy Q, did Parannoul's new album Sky 100 and the collaboration Max Gang Scattersun.
Yep.
Trix on air suggested Boyscott's new Spellbound. After that episode,
yes,
said, let's listen and Road to El Dorado, animated movie from 2000 with a score by Elton John and Randy.
One of my favorites.
On Zimmer.
It was a 2000s animated movie.
I did listen to everything.
That was kind of the thing.
Let's put that out there. That specifically, I listened to everything.
Good.
He was a coward and didn't watch The Road to El Dorado, though.
I could only go on this pirated site that was incredibly. I'm a coward when it comes to this. It's not a case of I'm scared of the law. It's more so I'm scared of, and reasonably so, random sites inserting viruses onto my computer. Not because I can't clean it up, but because there are certain things on my computer in relation to my work in which I don't want anybody to have access to. I think this is a very reasonable request to have in my life. And not to say that the Russians would really care so much about us, but we have had hacks before. And, if I'm the one that get caught with the virus on it and all that shit, it's just
going to be the one virus.
Yeah, basically. I'd be more happy to say that I got the virus from porn.
Alright, where do we want to start? I picture this as a road movie or having a journey. Almost kind of.
Well, the hardest part of any journey is the start. It's probably the longest part because you're wondering how long is this going to take. But then once you finally get there, I think is where you start to appreciate and just go along for the ride. And I think the album that's going to encapsulate that, at least for me, is still Houseplants.
Okay.
So I picked this one. I kind of picked it at the very end. I kind of just said, fuck it, there's a while. And I have a friend who's massively into this album. There's people online, and by people, I mean just a couple of them. It's not this album hasn't blown up or anything. It's garnered a bit of buzz, but a bit of buzz only means as much as it does. It's still a relatively small album. They did, funnily enough, tour Australia, but for the Sydney show, which would have clashed with Bar Italia for me anyway. You can only get a ticket from the ballot, so there was no purchasing. It was free and stuff, but you had to get your name called, which didn't happen. I didn't put my name in there anyway because I didn't know the band yet. But my friend, very happily for him, did get a ticket, and then wouldn't shut up about this album for like a couple of days. So I finally gave it a listen, and it's one of those ones where the first time I feel like you listen to it, you don't know what to make of it, and then after a certain while, you still don't know what to make of it, but you just go along for the ride. That's how I feel.
It's the third album of. They've been around for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me those vibes of other things. It in some ways it feels like the I like avant-garde weird music.
Yeah.
Offbeat.
Yeah.
Have a really not sing it, like a really specific way that vocalist.
It's very stretched out.
Like distended, dissonant chords played in like a jangly guitar tone.
It's the kind of thing you wouldn't friends to. They were in the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue the closest band that we probably covered to the sound was Double or Nothing, and even with them, they were a lot more. They sounded a lot more organized or in time than this.
Double or Nothing. I was thinking.
I was also thinking of Horse Jumper of Love a little bit.
There was a bit of that bedroom sounding element to the production on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get a bit of the Horse Jumper. It is a very kind of, despite how minimalistic it all is, it is very confronting in just how it sounds, because it is that kind of jarring. That's what it is. I hate saying that word because jarring's usually meant as an insult. In a hidden way, I don't mean it as one. It is just a very challenging sound to get into.
It gives the air of beat poetry. Go to the coffee shop, they have live act. Like they're like not like fans and buying something. I don't know fully if I don't know. Like I'm tempted to just straightforward and be like, because of the vocals and everything, I don't know if I was jiving with. There is a certain something to play.
That's basically the quick summary.
Know what it is?
Go ahead.
DIY tuner.
That's a That's one of the funnest summarizations you can do.
I could see that.
It reminds me. So, but yeah, it's more offbeat. I don't even know if it's like super. I feel like in some ways negative, but they were vocals.
Well, the vocal styles in between those two albums, though, I would say are different.
Sure.
Like Double or Nothing, whilst it's got some broader moments in her vocals, it's a lot more in time and stuff. It feels like this is a very jazzy album in the sense of how it's composed, whilst Double or Nothing it is, whilst the way, like the actual way they create the sounds feels a bit more interesting, like with Bathwater Baby, the ambient sounds in there are just actually using like little drumsticks on the violin. whilst here it's very simple in what the actual instrumentation is. It's just drums, guitar, and vocals. But I feel like one of the comparisons we could do is to Seismic, and one of the takes that you had about that, Dominic, in which I think it felt like everybody was trying to do their own thing in certain songs.
It felt like the vocalist was always fighting the. I was like,
yeah.
Here, I don't know. This is the vocalist. It's like it's different. With Seismic, it felt like it was just a problem of. This feels like baked. This is just how they want. It's a weird distinction. Don't know.
Yeah.
Feeling is different.
Yeah,
Seismic,
I can see that.
When you hear that Seismic randomly broke up, listen to the album, and we're like, yeah, okay, I kind of feel that. Here, it's like, no, this is they're deep into something.
Yeah.
But still, the struggle is kind of describing this album. I think it's one of those ones that you just kind of have to hear because you can only describe. I mean, you can only describe the number 4 as much as you can. You know, it's the number 4, and this isn't as basic as that. Don't get me wrong, but its main draw isn't how many components are there to the album. It's just how those components are used. And don't get me wrong, it's not like there's nothing to uncover after the first 5 seconds of this. I think they start going in enough different directions with as little as they're doing that we actually do get some quite interesting moments on this album. Like, it is definitely one of those, like, not in time moments. Everything gets really jangly, and it feels like it feels like a jazz moment they've done at the start and just kind of kept in the first go at it. But it's still one of my favorite moments of this is the silver grip passes through my teeth. When it kind of gets into that second passage and there's the do 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 do. It's jarring but catches your attention, and I actually do like the vibes that the instrumentation are doing on there.
Yeah, that's crowd is like it was baffling, hooky, memorable.
It's a case of the good old word contrast. You know, it's not every moment is trying to be the moment. When different moments come, that's what makes them more memorable on this album. And it does help that there is some repetitiveness that makes it get a bit more stuck in your brain. Don't get me wrong about that.
Yeah.
You know, like the last track, where it felt like it was kind of like, when are they going? And the vocals happen, and the fish is like, okay, I can do. Waiting for it. Sticks out.
So I think the takeaway we have from this is we don't know if we like this album or not.
Yeah, it's weird.
Funny, I feel like I felt similar about 009. At least you were more positive on it.
I still am.
Totally fair. I'm curious how that is for this.
It is a good question. I mean, there are songs off this album in which I do enjoy. I enjoy the opener quite a lot. The "I wish I was called Makita" moment it perfectly encapsulates what this album is at the start there. Anyway, with the whole okay, what the hell is this, and why am I still drawn to listen to it?
Yeah.
Double or Nothing, in comparing it and why that one, I guess, catches me more is I think there's just a lot more moments on that EP in which I can just kind of remember as like specific times as like, ooh, that fucked. I think they were just doing a bit more with their sound, I guess, than this is. Which, don't get me wrong, it's not like this is doing nothing. But that's probably why I'm a bit more drawn to the Double or Nothing.
Just for
That's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do it specifically a Tune Yards and Still House Plants.
Okay.
Because there's two other albums. I don't know how they sound.
Yeah.
So in short, yeah. I usually when I say this is music, that's me just saying like, oh, it's everything that's existed before. But this is one of the rare cases where it is actually something kind of different and interesting in that way that is different. But I'm still not sure what to think of it as a full album.
Yeah.
I can definitely say I don't hate it, but I'm not sure if it's going to be one of those things where I go, I love it outside of a couple moments.
I don't.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't hate it, but there was definitely that part of me that wants to be totally off on super highfalutin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feeling to be fight it because the meaning they
Yeah.
were to ask me, a struggling artist, this feels like the audience doesn't get them. So they like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of acts these years, and I've seen a lot of people with just laptop music or background music combined and doing lyrics about absolute nothing that they claim is about absolute something. And I feel like that more encapsulates the why am I not successful? Like people don't get me. Than something that doesn't sound like it's trying to be successful, but just trying to be, I guess, challenging. Maybe that's the defensive. Maybe I'm more defending this stuff than other people. If so, I'll die on that hill.
Yeah.
I say me. As we're all kind of, it's just that we're so used to kind of having everything pressed on. Well, that's it.
It's very different.
One end you got will of the people, other end you got in the sea.
Yes.
Well, I mean, let's compare this to Will of the People for a second. Whilst this, I feel like, challenges the whole idea of what can we kind of tolerate as music. You know, what standards do you have to the songwriting that you can intentionally ignore to make music? And then Will of the People basically has all those same things, except it wasn't intentionally ignored. And there's a really great quote that my brother 6'5", when he creates music, is that he got a criticism from his teacher that said, "You're breaking all the rules, which can be fine, except the difference is you don't know that you're actually breaking them."
Yes.
I dislike that way. Films, they try to break it out of you. Not Quentin. And I've always
Yeah, but the problem with this isn't the case of my brother wasn't fucking Mozart or some shit. Because the problem was is that he didn't quite understand the music theory that he was breaking.
Yeah.
And that's a much different thing when it comes to that.
That's also the process. Learning that.
Yeah.
Kind of making your art and having space to that. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a wizard at all. I've definitely podcast. I had to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If I waited around and took classes and played this show for months on end just to be perfect before I began, we wouldn't be doing this.
No, that's true.
No.
I mean, when I put out music, that's not a case of me trying to put out high art or anything. No, that's just a case of me doing it for fun. And there's a difference when you do start putting music out in all these different directions. But regardless, this album exists. I recommend giving it a listen and just seeing if you're into it or not. That's
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say for any kind of specific people or not. Just I don't know, if you're not afraid to be challenged, go. If you are, why are you listening to this podcast?
Yeah.
Not really feeling favorites league. I don't know.
I agree.
I do have some favorites, at least with MMM and Silver Silver Grip Pulses for my teeth. Do I really have a least favorite of this? It's not really, because it's a case of the songs all go through those kind of similar structures that And a lot of them all had those kind of moments of, oh, I like this, and like I'm not sure how I feel about this. So I agree with like going least favorites, but I've released with having it in my playlists. Quite a bit warmed up quite a lot to those two songs. So
Two that stood out to me.
Yeah, more faster stood out. Perhaps.
What do we so
I can't think of another album that we've possibly covered this week.
Yeah, and this is the other one I really don't have a lot to say about either.
right, Schoolboy
Me neither.
Blue Lips. You know, top the album that I was always very diving into. This could be. I don't do a lot of hip.
All right.
This one did.
Me either. This sounds like something my coworker would put on that I'd half pay attention to while in a rush.
I admired the production. I like the kind of jazzy production that was happening behind all of it.
Yeah, the
But-
samples were probably the highlight for me.
I didn't get enough time to really focus on any lyricism, and it's hard to do that and talking about it with hip hop albums because there's quite a lot to go through. I'm not the world's busiest music nerd. Let's just put that out there for this. So I'm kind of judging by vibes here, and yeah, for the most part, the vibes are good. But I can't say I was really getting much sticking with me in this with this album. But my favorite album for hip hop this year so far has probably been the Joey Valance and Bray one. So I'm white.
I mean, there's a feature. Sing
Yeah.
good amount of people that are favoring this. The surprising thing is that it really wasn't like the end. That's pretty late.
Yeah.
A lot of earn one big single.
You know what's weird though? I own the Schoolboy Q album on CD. Just not this one, Crash Talk. I haven't listened to it in full. I found it for $1 at a Vinnie's or something like that. So I randomly own the Schoolboy Q CD,
All right.
and I've never really gotten into him. Hip hop's never really been my thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the one that just
I love hip hop.
Seems like the opposite of what you'd be into, Domino.
I know, but like that's kind of like the weird thing of like way people have talked to me about school. It seems like wasn't the type of rapper to get that way, and not like that. Gotta make it.
Ritz, where's the ass titty song?
I can't even remember. I wish I could.
I mean, I did tell you to sample moaning on that one song.
Forever a classic. I wish I had more to say about this one. I only gave it the one full listen, so I was never really going to be able to give it the full justice anyway, talking about it, but I wish there was this kind of more that I could gain from this on first listen, but
It's on the
other than... It's on which one?
phone with that. Never wanna hydro. Oh,
Yeah, I couldn't even
We are
remember that.
white.
yeah, I am very white.
We are all exceptionally white. I'm so white that if I stay in the sun for longer than an hour, I will literally start blistering.
Like, I think there is some lyricism here. It just as a whole album, I was surprised with how much I consider I was like stuff. The way I feel like I vibed more still have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Still House Plants puts it a lot more interesting. It just feels, probably pissing off a lot of hip hop enthusiasts. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they all think this album's mid. I don't know. I'm completely no clue on this. All I
This
can
is
say
probably
is
my
I like
least
the
favorite of the
production.
week.
Tell you, really, it's 70
That doesn't mean that much.
Yep.
money on the hip hop.
Also means jack shit.
What is currently leading the ARIA charts as we're now on here? ARIA top 50 singles. Whoever the fuck Rose is.
Also, it's not like it's like did business. But music criticism, nothing these days. It's everything is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the ARIA charts anyway, and most of it is like there's hardly ever. I don't think there's a single like modern indie band or anything like that that's in the top 50 for like this year. It feels like we have fucking Iris from the Goo Goo Dolls at number 41.
Iris.
Goo Goo Dolls is a kind of punk band from Buffalo. Iris
Oh.
is their song.
Yeah. As I don't know to see me.
It's very much mom rock.
I thought you were saying it's like.
Oh, Trix.
Yeah.
You don't even understand how good that analogy of mum rock was, because you know who Goo Goo Dolls opened for this year?
Who?
Matchbox 20.
There. Goo Goo Dolls anecdote. While we're here, there was a for a while back in my hometown on OfferUp or Let Go or one of those like weird selling sites. Somebody had this knockoff Telecaster that was signed by the Goo Goo Dolls that they were trying to sell for $25, and it sat on there for like a year and a half. I think it would have been worth more with the signatures rubbed off.
$25.
Goo Goo Dolls are randomly playing Yours and Ours next year, and if they don't clash, I'll be there. I'll see them. No shame.
Go see the mom rock.
I'm just taking a look at like our top 50 albums charts right now, and we have fucking Luke Combs has been in here for 254 weeks. I don't think I've heard a single fucking song from him. Billie Eilish's debut has been in there for 274. Arctic Monkeys has been in there for 208. Would have been in there a while back as well, so he probably had a week out and went back in. Taylor Swift's been in there for multiple albums for all than 100 weeks each. Fleetwood Mac, 371 weeks in. Fucking Eminem's just greatest hits, 370. Maroon 5, 289. Another Luke Combs, 335. Like, that's a fucking charts of us. So I hear like 72 in the top 50 albums was its peak. I mean, Ammo and the Sniffers is down to 49, and I had a peak of 2.
All right.
So it didn't break that much here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't saying. Oh, you know. Apparently.
Nah, but I'm more saying that for the context of everyone listening here.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of you.
Yeah, you know, this one wasn't.
Yeah.
I feel this is not the only one I have to say that about this. I feel a little bit better.
Fair enough.
I'm using the term blender for the first time since I got back.
I am going to agree with Blender.
But the Yearn 101 video was kind of cool. 2086 in time.
So Dominic, don't leave us hanging. What's the other one?
Oh, Boyscott.
Wow.
We have never really covered Twee before. This is the fucking tweest fucking.
I guess I'm Twee then. I fucking love this album.
I mean, Tree and Trans sound similar.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, I liked the first Boyscott album. This is a more refined sound. Cool that they came back after.
Yeah.
But it's so I look for. It's content to be a lays about album.
You weren't Spellbound?
This album had 4 singles. There are basically 9 songs on it.
Yeah, and I did not listen to one until the album actually released. And actually, it only had 3 singles because After Dark is not on the album. Oh wait, no, it is. Never mind.
And that's a good way of describing this album. You can't even remember what's on it.
Yeah, I much prefer Goosebumps. I'll say that.
This is the same kind of issue as ScHoolboy Q, in which I do think I like the production on this quite a lot, but it's nothing really interesting happening here for me to grab any attention. It's good background music, but I can't even remember what my thoughts on the first album were. Probably the same.
one of my favorite songs of all time is Nova Scotia 500 off of the first album, and it doesn't quite reach those heights, but I still think there's stuff to be enjoyed here.
I'm trying to picture this in a setting. And it's so mute. Big hook of that one is she gentle. I would approach.
This is going to sound like a really weird comparison, but I could see this being like a supplemental soundtrack to something like Life is Strange.
Oh, 100%. I think it would do better there.
Like there's something this is a tangent within a about this, but like there's something about like that 2014 there was this huge like retro revival, but specifically about like an 80s summer camp in a way. I don't know how else to describe it. And I just really fuck with that like vibe. And whenever I can find something that fits in that vibe, I really dig it. So,
and we've had other albums.
Yeah.
This is the first time in a while though. This would be better.
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't even really looked at the lyrics. Like, I know that there's songs on Goosebumps, like Nova Scotia 500 is about finding a body.
I remember the Goosebumps wasn't like in love with it, liked it. Like Goosebumps felt like Spellbound acts that this is where the artist. It's just so slight. And I'm kind of surely you have more to say about Lima. I'm sad I'm not doing it in the song effect. The verses on that song specifically. Okay. Tell me more. Don't hold back. I know they say less is more, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes
it's just sometimes it's just less.
Yeah.
Like if I'm looking at the lyrics right now, okay, story of why I moved from the girl I met else be everything else. There's nothing. These are ideas of songs that are surprisingly to me not full. Given how long. This is the way you want to go? Cool.
I like the lyrics to Orca, which are just ooh ooh ooh. I'm just reading lyrics now.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes it's easier to just have like a totally fine.
But it's not doing anything here. Not much is really happening here.
Okay, Moosehead lyrics. I don't mind the dirt all over me. I ought to grow up. I ought to get on up before I fall asleep. I fell for the girl with the zucchini. Her and her father had a garden up in Orleans. She held my hand at the farmer's market. When guts got poured into the sea, when her father found out about her and me, tool shed, bloodshed, green thumbs around my neck.
Yeah, okay, there's more to that song.
Yeah.
There's something there. But it's told in such happy and very cutesy way. It doesn't like sometimes that kind of disconnect aging. Have everything that's happy about in the air. I think I'm devastating.
Posted my thoughts in here like after the album came out. Let me see if I can find them.
But everything is as cute out kind of. Oh, there's something. There's some angst. Healing.
I said it's good, it's just short.
Short can be fine. I mean, Petite League album.
Yeah, this is about the length of a Petite League album. It's also worth pointing out the Petite League connection too, where when we met Lorenzo for the first time in Nashville, he told us about opening for them for like 3 people.
I forgot all about it.
And that was what brought me to bring up Goosebumps on the podcast when I was already planning to for most of that year.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, if we're just going about on vibes, I fucking love this. This is like really good vibes. I'm sure I will come back to this album quite a bit. Oh?
According to the Bandcamp, I saw my high school biology teacher partner's.
That's adorable.
That is.
I'm curious what the sounds like. Personally,
The drum rhythms in our version of Lima were inspired by U drum traditions in Ghana, West Africa. Ooh.
that's cool.
Yeah. I do too.
You love this one. I can't.
Yeah.
Blender for me.
Favorites for me, Orca. I really like Orca. Lima I also like. And we'll go with Arthur Kill. And no real least favorites. I just really like this album.
Unlike ScHoolboy Q, I think Lima was one.
Fair play. What are we talking about next? Yeah, Trix, you decide.
Let's see here. We've covered one from each of us, actually. So why don't we go back around the circle and do another Ritz pick? And let's do Ritz's other pick, which name escapes me right now, but I'm scrolling to find it.
Magic Mountain 1996 to 2022.
Yes.
And I must say that every Australian male who decides that they want to get into music, just listening or going to gigs or all that, needs to have a Ceres phase. Else they have not passed the trials to become a male. I'm sorry, but that's just how it works.
Okay.
So my Ceres phase was during uni. That's when I would have discovered them. They would have released the Stretch Your Skin EP, and then soon after released what was their final album for a while, which named doesn't escape me anymore. It's We Are a Team. That was, I believe, their third or fourth album, something like that. And now we finally have Ceres back. There was a long blog post that was put on the release of this album on their Instagram, which talked about a lot of the context leading up to one of these songs in here, talking about what Magic Mountain was, basically an eruption that, sorry, not an eruption, kind of a large fire that happened on a mountain near their home back when they were children. It talks about the unfortunate miscarriage that he and his partner went through, and then kind of just all the kind of things in between that leading up to what was 2022 was the birth of their daughter Viv. So it is a very kind of, I guess, personal life story type of album that's gone into the context here, and that's the lead-in.
Tracks. The way the host was added up, came up.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
It's a very cinematic album in the kind of way that all of the music is actually produced on this album as well. I'm gonna ask Dominic for his take first because I just love putting Dominic on the spot.
Fine. Another one that didn't super grab me. I had the time to listen to it. Listen to it 4 or 5 times. Some of the songs are interesting, like Britney Spears definitely out.
Mm-hmm.
This week's theme for me is coming. A lot of these were like fine. Thankfully, we don't always have a lot of weeks like that.
Yes.
But this week, for a lot of that, kind of that realization of like 2020 albums not hitting.
2024, the year of no bangers.
Well, it's not a year of no bangers, and I think when you get the context of this album, I think it is a very important thing into realizing why it exists as it does.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah,
to be brutally honest as it is, I don't think this needs to be a double album.
no,
I think there are some really good moments on here, and if this was cut by a bit, it would have been a little less dragging. Because by the time it gets to the end, it's like there's been a lot of moments that are just very similar, a lot of themes that are very similar with each other. That's made it a bit harder to get through this album. Now, that being said, there are some still really great moments that have grabbed me off this album. So that's where I do kind of deviate from Dominic's opinion here. I know it's the kind of cheesy radio edit kind of song that they put out there, but I do like Want Need quite a lot. It was that kind of anthemic, cinematic kind of sound that Ceres was bringing to this album. And it's catchy. Is it kind of a bit of an easy hook that they've written on it? Probably. But I like it. But I think there are other moments on this album as well which kind of grab me with a different style that they're doing on it. Like Maxi, which has that kind of very... It feels like it's almost like a romance movie kind of soundtrack that they're playing on there.
mm-hmm.
It has that kind of whole lead up into it. And I do like it, but that's also kind of, I guess, another issue that this album has, is that despite these themes and stuff like that, like, if you had to pin this to one movie, per se, and I'm going to compare it to, like, a movie soundtrack because it is, as I'm saying, cinematic, it gets jumbled up and it's not really all doing in the same thing. And that does kind of, like, ruin its flow a little bit. Just trying to think of other highlights. I forgot which song it is off titles in my head because it goes into that, but the one that actually talks about the no heartbeat moment on there, I think that's Holly Hill Store, but I could be wrong.
Right.
Where the production goes very in and out and it's very compressed, was one of those moments that was actually quite interesting to hear on here. I think it's also got a much stronger start, this album, than does a finish, unfortunately.
Yeah.
In some ways, yeah.
So, in short, I guess it's issue, and it's not like Ceres music has never been this kind of style. So it's not like I'm disappointed with the sounds that they're going into or anything like that, because this is what I expected from Ceres. But it is somehow still a bit overblown.
You tell me that they're like Australian males who are into music Ceres phase album, and I'm like, really?
Well, remember, this album wasn't during those phases.
Sure.
Small albums like Drag It Down on You or Stretch, or I Don't Want to Be Anywhere But Here. On the Stretchy Skinny P for me.
Maybe those.
It helped that there was a Japanese wallpaper card on there to start, so that was like my first introduction to Ceres. Like, oh, Japanese wallpaper, let's go.
Fair.
That is fair.
And this is an attempt at sounding a lot more mature. I don't think there is that much difference in this maturity between this and the earlier ones, because the earlier ones aren't really that, like, I guess, unstructured or anything.
Yeah.
And Ceres has always been quite a personal band when it comes to the lyricism on there. I mean, the throwback that on this with Viv is before the child was born, there was a song called Viv in the Front Seat, which was a song that was basically imagining having a daughter with his new partner. There's a bit of a love song in there. Other songs like Choke, which they opened it up with their new set as well. Those have those very kind of personal. And I guess the other theme that usually grabs a lot of young males' attention is a lot of them are based off romance. You know, young males like to say they don't care about that, but everybody just wants somebody to hug, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone wants love.
Everyone wants a cuddle. So that's how I feel about this. I was hoping for a lot more to go into this album, and unfortunately we are left with a lot of filler, I will say, just because it feels like moments on this are done better by other songs. But if you like Ceres, we've got nearly 70 minutes of more Ceres, and I can't complain about that.
No.
The uni kid in me was just absolutely frothing at the mouth when I heard that Ceres was coming back.
I feel like there were pockets of enjoyability, but it feels like an album that is, like, propped up by an idea, the musical chops. not that there's bad music, but just like
Yeah,
25 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate
It's a lot.
I appreciate what they're going for, not support.
yeah, it's an interesting context. Knowing the context is kind of definitely important into the enjoyment of this album as well, and just realizing that goes okay, it makes you understand exactly why things have been chosen, and I guess the inconsistency kind of makes sense when not every theme is going to be the same in the next in a full 26-year period, and this is trying to be a lot more chronological.
But I don't even feel like it's reflecting a change like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 26 years, I would kind of larger.
26 years, 25 songs. How could they do this?
To make a bit of a weird comparison to an album I've been listening to a bit recently, it's about an eighth of a one Wayne G in all ways.
I love that idea.
Like, this is microdosing one Wayne G, but I feel like one Wayne G is more varied and interesting.
Oh, yeah, no, without a doubt.
Well,
like I've been going back to that
recently.
recently.
It's easy for that to be a lot more varied when there's a lot more that happens into there. But
yeah,
in one sense, I do actually agree, because One Wayne G was basically a lot of offcuts or stuff that was left on the computer. And into the case, I don't call this offcuts. These are full fleshed out songs. But there are some moments of if I compare it to the other stuff in Ceres discography or how it goes, it does feel like this is more just a compilation of ideas that it does full fleshed out album.
Yeah, and but it trying to be album really not live up.
yeah, no.
So that's kind of where I land. Only because
It exists. It's an interesting piece that I will probably never go back to. I might check out some other series, but
yeah, I love.
that's really about all I have to say about Magic.
I will at some point in this podcast cover Drag It Down on You. That will happen.
That cut out.
It's not going to happen for this year because we've got a lot of 2024 stuff to just try and get through.
Yeah,
I think there's some stuff we're going to even miss. That's how little time we got left for all this. I was hoping this would be a lot better of an introduction to Ceres than it was, just in terms of the quality of the album. That just happens when you have long albums like this. It was an ambitious release, and not every double album is good. I mean, this isn't bad. Don't get me wrong like that. I'm not trying to say it is, but
yeah, no, not
it
automatically good.
It doesn't justify its runtime, which is disappointing because it seems like this is quite a good release for Ceres. And I mean, in the end, though, if you're already a Ceres fan going into this, which I was, you're still going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But seeming as you two weren't Ceres fans going into this, I also assume that means whilst the context is still interesting to you two, it doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think about when you listen to the microphone. I think, even if we hadn't had that context, I think microphone would have been over.
Yes.
So that's a very interesting artist that you're pulling up there, and that's totally not a foreshadowing.
I wasn't. I was kind of hoping it would be a little bit of foreshadowing, but I've been listening. Okay, album still fucks, still really fucking.
It's very just that was a release that happened during COVID.
Yeah,
that guitar is so hypnotic to me in a way. I listen to it and I'm listening to it, and all of a sudden half an hour is.
It's doom metal.
But I wonder if I would appreciate it as much context, and I think I would. I don't know even if I listened to Ceres albums, if I would appreciate this.
I should try and get one of my parents to listen to the microphones in 2020 with no context.
But until then, I will actually try and give some favorites and least favorites on this one because I do have some. Britney Spears is a really great pop rock song on here that talks about obsession with somebody. And uses that kind of whole Britney Spears comparison to do it. It's pretty fun. Maxi with that kind of very I listened to Maxi whilst in the airport waiting for my partner. Because that was probably the first listen I had of it, and that was just a vibe where you just in the international airport going where the hell are you? and you just got this cinematic music playing in the background. You're like, okay, this is hitting. Least favorite would be something of the second half, probably something like DRM.
Doom.
It's just that's probably like the moment where I just go, this album's gone too long. Admittedly, like it's been interesting moments in it. I liked it, but it's like at this point it goes like it has admittedly just gone a bit too long, and I'd say that's probably the point where I consider it.
Yeah, I like Britney Spears. I think they'd be getting with like, it's probably around Mercury, and then like that stands out. That's also the part where, yeah, this is going on.
Yeah.
Like Mercury all the way through the end is kind of its own subsection. Holy Hill Store is still interesting. I first, that's really all I can made me interested. Viv, I guess, was 6.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Trix doesn't really have any other takes on
I don't. It's a bit of a blender. I will say I literally just did the math, and it is actually literally 1/8 the runtime of One Wayne G.
Oh, there you go.
Listen to it a few more times, and you'll see quality there.
Yeah.
Alright, what are we picking next? Let me look. What have we got? You know what? Trix, El Dorado. Let's give it a fresh start tomorrow. Let's try to shine like El Dorado.
This is one of my favorite animated movies of all time.
Would say that.
It genuinely is. Up there with like the 1977 Lord of the Rings.
I still think Emperor better early native culture animated movie from that era.
You know what? I've only seen
New Groove is great.
I've only seen one of them because I couldn't watch the film this time. I only saw Emperor's New Groove, and I saw that like 3 years ago or something like that because Ash was like, "Oh, you haven't seen that movie?" and then forced me to watch it.
It's one of the few Disney movies I really jive with. I grew up with it.
I don't hate it, but I never grew up on it.
I believe I grew up on the TV show, but not the movie. As weird as that might sound.
I'm trying to think. I think really the only Disney film that I kind of grew up on was Lion King, in that like in the sense of those cartoon animated ones. I did watch Lilo and Stitch as a kid as well, but I never got like really into those types of movies. It probably helped that I was shown South Park at a very early age.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, kids swearing. I like this.
Speaking of Gen Z and South Park, have you seen that weird Gen Z culture surrounding South Park? Weird Side?
No.
It is that's worth like a rabbit hole of like just going and like looking at the weird shit that Gen Z thinks about fucking South Park.
Yeah, how
the iconic image that comes to mind is fucking like MS Paint drawing of Cartman. It's like, why, yes, thank you for asking. My pronouns are they, them.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Yeah, because well, I haven't watched the newest South Park ones, but I know there's been some complaints about their depictions of transgendered people in some of their episodes. I know they haven't had great views of climate change back in the day, which they have kind of rescinded on, which is at least good. But
I remember that as like a kid being a big deal, and that's kind of why I didn't watch. Oh, you're not even taking this serious. How come? I don't.
Yeah,
I think that was a case of the creators basically just trying to be like very centrist on everything, and then being centrist on climate change was being denial of it. But they've come back and basically said fuck man bear pig, fuck man bear pig is real now, which is them basically acknowledging that yes, climate change actually is real.
Sometimes it's worth remembering that being a centrist gets you any.
Yeah.
And the whole this is my politics is that I think being in a centrist position is how every kind of argument should start, but you should never end up in a centrist position because, well, yeah,
you'll have an opinion about something.
Yeah, that's just gonna happen. Like you shouldn't go into things that you don't know about and then start acting like just because you've aligned with other policies and stuff like that. They're like, that's where it is. But I mean, there are some things which there isn't a centrist position on. Right? You're talking about that for abortion. There is no centrist position on abortion. It's either pro-choice or pro-life.
Yeah,
That's
either,
just how it is.
either you believe that trans people should exist and have rights or not.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't be a centrist. You can't just go, abortion for some, because that's pro-choice.
It is. Well, actually, there's a third option that none of us are
Abortion for
entertaining.
all.
Yes, mandatory abortion.
That was an old Maddox joke. Back
Not
on his
surprised.
homepage, where he said if he was elected president that he wouldn't just make abortion legal, but would force it. He just doesn't like kids.
Yeah.
No.
Finally, a politician who speaks the truth.
Fuck them kids.
That's what politicians do. Well,
The Road to El Dorado. This movie is aggressively bisexual in all the best ways.
Sure.
damn, I should have watched it.
You should have, Ritz.
I don't know. I do like the as far as the movie goes, I do like the trade off between.
Yeah.
I still have my issues with a lot of anime. One is long, but a lot of them feel and
Yeah.
something like again like Emperor gets away with it.
Yeah, but that definitely has it where having watched that one, it feels like the outro basically just like, oh shit, we've got 10 minutes before this movie's supposed to end. Wrap everything up.
Yeah.
This is a little more traditional, a little more be that betrayals happen, the characters don't talk to each other, and the thing where tries to, oh, I can't leave without my friend.
Yeah. It's cliche, but it's fun, I think.
The soundtrack, though, there are some really highlights on it. I cannot help but this is definitely like a B list Elton.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like this movie in particular was like a oh shit, they got Phil Collins for Tarzan. Who can we get?
Collins polished Tarzan.
He did.
Collins did it with the Lion. Get it?
Yeah.
This is not the Lion King.
It
Yeah.
is not.
I definitely probably should have had watched the movie to get a good appreciation of the soundtrack, but the soundtrack for me was like, okay.
It feels kind of shoehorned in at parts.
It was surprisingly less soundtrack heavy.
Yeah.
Which it's not a musical, really. They have one part where they sing. But it's a lot of
Yes.
John doing things.
Well,
I don't think
what?
he did the vocals or the lyrics for this.
I'm gonna just kind of put it out this way. We have all these movies from the same time that have all these soundtracks and all these songs and everything like that. And if I just do a random one here, like Dominic, say a song from The Lion King.
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, okay, that's Trix. Can you? Or I might even throw it back to Dominic. If you can't, one from like Prince of Egypt or something. Can you at least remember how the soundtrack goes to that?
I've never
Or-
seen Prince of Egypt.
Dominic, can you?
Egypt. I do not remember.
Do you remember something from like Lilo and Stitch? I assume that has a soundtrack. Can you remember?
It's not really musical.
No, not really.
But I do remember
I'm just-
stuff and it's amazing that I dream.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going based off a bunch of these because I'm just trying to remember all these ones. Little Mermaid.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got one. Beauty and the Beast. That should have a fucking memorable one somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Beauty and the Beast. I've seen Beauty
Okay.
and the Beast like 1,000 times because that was my grandmother's favorite movie.
Fucking go. What else? Fucking has. Monsters Inc. Toy Story, that kind of stuff. I know they're not the cartoon animated ones, but you can remember how the soundtrack goes with those shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so having not watched the movie or anything like that, and with a bunch of all of these, even if you haven't watched the movie, you'd still know at least one of the songs. What's the most memorable song off the Road to El Dorado?
Oh, the Panic
Probably
in
the
Me.
trail. Yeah, the Panic in Me, I could say. Or I even go for like the Trail We Blaze.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like all the other ones that have been said, there's like a definitive song that everyone knows. Like Little Mermaid, it's Undersea. Lion King, it's Hakuna Matata. I think it's Toy Story. That's You Got a Friend in Me.
Yep.
What else is there? Fucking on these goddamn songs.
Be our guest from
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. Tarzan, I can't remember what the one from Tarzan is, but
Strangers Like Me. Big
thank
one.
you.
Two Worlds, One
Hell,
Family.
Hell, even fucking George of the Jungle. It's got a more memorable song.
It's tough to be a god is a fun song, but it's more because on the soundtrack it's Randy Newman.
Yeah. And this isn't to be a full complaint about the soundtrack, but I feel like, when people talk about, especially this era of this whole Disney movies, or in this case, this isn't a Disney movie. I think it's only DreamWorks.
Hey, to your point, though, real quick, what do you think when you see Shrek?
That is true. You think of All Star.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is weird because the song that was made for it was still Smash Mouth, but it was the Now I'm a Believer cover.
Which also comes to mind for me, at least.
Yeah.
Far away.
I also get the fucking Leonard whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's
Hallelujah.
I think it's the Rufus Wainwright version that's on the Shrek soundtrack.
Yeah.
Or Shrek 2, Holding Out for a Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a famous song already, kind of. But your point is valid, and that I maybe now that I've listened to this soundtrack a number, I will remember El Dorado, but that's not a lot.
I'll get that hottest 100 music for the screen up.
Honestly, I was just looking for an excuse to watch The Road to El Dorado when I picked this.
Yeah, that's fair, but I'm still gonna compare it here, see if this is a good one to do it with. And yeah, with this one is, but there's like past ones called. I know there was like another one that has it as music in the movies. Here's the one I want to go for. So let's see what the first one out of all these kind of cartoon ones are. I might be struggling for a while because these ones get a bit weird with their votes. This one doesn't really have it. Oh no, it does. It does have it. 58 has the Lion King. But this one is a bit more recent. It's probably be good, a bit better. I know I'm kind of babbling on here, but it just makes it a bit easier. So like number 28 is Lion King. I mean, obviously, that was going to be a lot more popular than all of them. I'm hoping there's a couple more of those kind of Disney ones. Make it, Beauty and the Beast there at 76. Hell, even Shrek got in at number 86. That just happened. Toy Story at 93. So I was talking about this, but neither of these. There's no Road to El Dorado or anything like that, and that's just how it's been. It's never compared to what are movies that aren't always remembered for being musicals, even though they are. Beauty and the Beast a bit more is remembered, but
I think Road to El Dorado is a great example of a movie that. But if you were to watch it, at least for me, you see the memes. Those are some of it's even the thing where I hear how the voices are delivering that doesn't sound bad, but
that's fair. Something I would like to point out about the movie is that if I'm remembering correctly, Miguel and Tulio were written as a couple to begin with, and it didn't fly well with the executives, so they added Chell.
I mean,
no.
They do have great chemistry.
Yes.
Well, this was meant to be more of an adult movie, more of a serious.
Yes. Which is, funnily enough, also how The Emperor's New Groove worked.
Well, The Emperor's New Groove had its own thing of it was the big musical Lion King and game. What it be?
Yes.
I can see that with The Emperor's New Groove as well, because that's based on obviously that whole thing's based on the story of The Emperor's New Clothes, which is that story is the Emperor walks around naked.
Yes.
And there is an underground documentary that was made by Sting's wife that I've never seen a full release about the making movie, and because Sting was the artist for Emperor's Got.
Gotcha.
And his contributions are so minimized with the movie. There in the credits, and that's
all right.
Disney tried their best to stifle that.
Yeah, not a surprise.
Something I was interested though in this, listening to soundtrack.
Yes,
which makes sense because in the movie it's Whole mixes, they're seeing stuff happening, those things, stuff to be a god. I think it is because that's the one thing.
Yes.
There are like these other little lines. It works well for the scene. Yeah, this is different. This is way different than like what the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Movies, am I right?
Yes.
It was just an okay listening to the soundtrack, but I can't really say I took anything away from it. I don't really think if I watched a movie I was going to take too much away from the soundtrack. These types of movies never really interested me that much to begin with.
That's fair. I find that I watch these animated movies that have stuck with me. Most of them from when I was a kid, a couple. But it's hard to look at for me at Road to El Dorado and be like, yeah, these elements make it more.
That's fair.
Only a millennial bastard. Go ahead.
Millennial bastard.
Make my day.
I wasn't there. I was 6 and didn't support the movie. I famously remember to Emperor, my friend, beginning of it.
Gotcha.
It's tough when you're...
Yeah.
That said, the soundtrack is one of my favorites of the week.
Hell yeah.
Just by virtue of it being one that I like, compared to the many that I kind of don't care about.
I mean, it is Elton John, and a mid Elton John is still good Elton John.
Oh yeah, got some hot Zimmer in there.
Randy Newman.
Only on the soundtrack.
Nope.
But that's a cool little duet. I even bought the album to get the pan song I very much like.
Gotcha.
Favorites, Lisa?
Blender. Kill me later.
I'll do favorites for me. The Trail We Blaze and It's Tough to Be a God.
I like It's Tough to Be a God. I like Her Dances is for the El Dorado theme now. But my least favorite's probably something. Goodbye.
All right.
Okay. On to our last
Yes.
2 albums. Scattersun.
We have one Parannoul album and one album with Parannoul on it.
Yes.
One of them is really good. One of them is there.
Yeah.
Alright, Dominic, which one is there?
500 is there.
I agree.
After what was really interesting about the other release, after the Magic, after the Night the Live one, 500 is the first main album. I don't really feel anything more interesting except for like Fantasy. I think Fantasy was the track.
Yeah.
But this is the first
I like the lead single of it, but yeah, there isn't much evolution that's happened from what was the next part of the dream, obviously that big breakout that we loved it for, and then going into after the Magic, which also included the live album After the Night, and it all felt like these were really great moments leading in. Don't even forget Down for the Neon Youth. There's been a lot of Parannoul.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of kind of, I guess, steps forward that led to where we got to, even if I prefer certain moments of the previous one. But
Paraglow.
yeah, I agree. It's like hearing this album, it's like, well, I'm not going to go back to this one. I'm going to go back to the others, because this just feels like the songs that didn't make After the Magic.
I know
Yeah.
Tana went after this because Russ's didn't expect here. It's not as like the sound quality is.
Yeah.
Which I don't care about. I'm fine. I think that's part of Parannoul's style, and if he wants to change it, that's up to him. I'm with either way. But within that context, I would still like Evolution.
Yeah.
And where I found Evolution was Scattersun. Where I found something that was more interesting was Scattersun.
Yeah, where that starts off thinking, oh, it's the next Parannoul album, and then, no, it's not.
Yes.
But they are equally credited, so you can say it's definitely
Yes.
a joint project. Where it's like...
In which it more focuses on, I mean, this is the better hip-hop album.
Yeah.
This is the better
hip-hop album.
This is the better Parannoul album.
Yeah.
And I am so down with, like, a hip hop Parannoul album.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to hear it go this way.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is there is still evolution happening. You just needed to divert to this part, like see something going on. Sky Hunter would not exist. This album still will be like, oh wow, Parannoul's still really evolving, still going somewhere new. Yet, like, yes, there's a second person, or a group now involved, but that's happened before. Just really,
It has.
this is another one where it's like, holy shit.
Well, just to quickly go back into Sky 100, because it's going to be a very quick one that we go into. It is going to be completely lost by the better album, so I figured just talk about some of the reasons that we don't really like it as much as well, outside of just the evolution, but it's just comparing it to Parannoul's previous stuff. And the big one to think about is Evoke Me. And that's one of the very long post-rocky songs that's been put out, and Parannoul's done that many a time. White Ceiling, still an absolutely fucking fantastic track. We didn't actually get a 10-minute song off After the Magic, but we did get on After the Night. We got the 46-minute version of Into the Endless Night, which
fucking goes.
It goes hard.
And there's all these moments that would happen in these song progressions and everything, and it Evoke Me just it's not hitting any of that.
It doesn't. I very much consider Parannoul to be one of the most interesting of Wave. I've pretty much said like this work is on composer level, or pretty much, and I still think that about a lot of the work. This one is just, and is not.
Yeah.
And maybe this is the offcut. Maybe this is the other stuff that we knows.
But
there's
that's how we feel about Sky 100.
Outside of fantasy, there really is not, like, a lot can happen. Also, it really feels like maybe things will change, and there will be something about this.
Yeah.
Now, Scattersun starts off piano track, kind of disarms you and thinks, okay, maybe this will be. And Wrong Signal hits you, and you're like, okay, some rapping and stuff. This is hip-hop, this is different, and then beats start coming, and like, oh, okay, this is strapping us in for a completely different thing than we.
Yeah.
There's just great moments, circular motions. They've got this kind of really stuttery beat happening that's really engaging. Songs like talk to kind of Sega music.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
That kind of relates back to breakbeat Club 90.
Yeah. As an aside, I'm surprised that I've been looking. But granted, it's been a few years since I've looked, but I'm surprised that nobody has tried to make like a homebrew synthesizer based off the Sega Genesis sound chip.
I'm surprised as well. You think?
Yeah, because I would pay good money to just have that like Sega bass sound. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I say Sega bass sound.
Yeah, I mean, we had those albums that were made with the N64 sound font, so you assume we'll get the Sega sound font at some point to do this with.
I'm surprised there aren't more bands that are Sega music. Very.
Give me some Monkey Ball jams.
Yeah, like,
you know, I haven't talked enough about being in fucking in the days I was of fucking post Wisdom Teeth, but it was great playing some Sonic.
hell
When I wasn't holding eyes to it, I'm like, Sonic Generations X Shadow, let's go.
At some point, I'm going to have to cover the dubstep remixes that they did on the Banana Mania remake. Because they went full fucking dubstep for some of the songs, and it works.
I do kind of want to cover F-Zero GX.
Isn't F-Zero Nintendo?
But GX was made by Sega.
Ah, yes.
We had a Corey was on a huge Sega talk, so brain infected right now.
Yes.
But anyway, Scattersun.
It is fascinating.
This is a fun album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my favorite of the week because I'm still like very unsure of what my rankings are, but it's in one of those cases of like this was probably the most coherent out of all the interesting albums we covered this week.
I mean, it's the most interesting and the most. It's like one of the like if we were doing this years ago in like this would be the one that would have been suggested for everything else, except maybe.
Yeah.
I think we were more meticulous about betting.
Yeah, no, we don't care.
There.
We know our place.
Yeah. Well, I've vetted 2 albums for next week that I think are pretty important. Well, one of them actually overlaps with a pick from this week. I'll present first when we get to that.
Yep. And I have 2 2024 albums as well.
Yeah, mine are 2024 albums as well.
What about you, Dom?
Until the end of the year is 20.
Yep.
That's good. I don't know if I have like
Hell,
a specific
yeah.
moment off this album that like really shined for me. I think this was one of those ones that actually works as a full album, so maybe that does make it the best of this week. I did probably like the closer more than anything else of this.
Fair. I can see that.
Yeah.
I think the 10-minute Scattersun track is good, but again, not as hard hitting as are.
Yeah.
I think this is an album. I'll probably say it's my least favorite, the 10-minute one, because it's an album which it doesn't need all those long branching moments. It is a lot more compact and it works that way.
Sure. I can see.
Yeah.
You know, it feels weird to call like a 5-minute song compact, but when it's compared to just how long this album is and compare it to other Parannoul stuff, which, you know, it's not just a Parannoul album, it's a Fax Gang album as well. But we don't have that Fax Gang context going into this.
This is a great example
We do not.
where editing to be compact or compact and work well.
Which compare that to the series.
Yeah, and like I was thinking, like back to like a Road to El Dorado thing where villains. This is kind of doing a similar thing, getting back to basics, but giving it enough feel like it's embarrassed. It's not like a Father of All.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Road to El Dorado is necessarily that either. There's a sliding scale that's really know what you're doing.
That is fair.
I've run out of things to say because my mouth is hurting.
I like Soliloquy. I like Cirque. Mine's least favorite. My least favorite, I would say, probably Wrong Signal up until the end where the beat switches. It's really put there.
Favorite is Circular Motion. Least favorite's probably Scattersun.
Favorites: Circular Motion and Soliloquy. Least favorite is actually probably Wrong Signal.
And with that, that's the week.
Time to write.
Yeah, that's the month actually.
Yeah, it's been a while, but you know what? I'll start. I think least favorite. Well, I think it's probably the least enjoyable, least memorable. It becomes a bit of a rough one there. I think my least favorite's probably Boyscott, and then I'd put in Sky 100, then Road to El Dorado. So now I've got 4 left on here. So then I would probably... What have we got? So we've done Boyscott, we've done Road to El Dorado, we've done one Parannoul. So we've got the Ceres, Still House Plants, a Fax Gang, and the ScHoolboy Q. I already forgot about the ScHoolboy Q. Put the ScHoolboy Q at the bottom. Because the fact that I completely forgot that it existed, that we did it, I think that just
Boyscott's not dead last.
Yeah, sorry, ScHoolboy Q, but the fact that I even forgot that we listened to you on an episode, that hasn't really happened like that for a while, so you're kind of, by default, put down there. Yeah, so ScHoolboy Q, Boyscott, Sky 100, Road to El Dorado, then it's going to be Ceres, and then it's going to be Still Houseplants, and then it's going to be Fax Gang. I think the Still Houseplants one is a lot closer to number 1 than you would think, but just what works as an album more is the Fax Gang.
I'm gonna work my way up to down. That's easier.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right. At the top, I'm gonna start with Scattersun. That is definitely interesting week. After that, I will give it to Road to El Dorado. 3, just based on everything that we've listened to and talked about it with it, give the Still House. Number 4, Eric gets. Number 4, I will give it to Boyscott. Purely because as a blender, then I will give it Magic Mountain,
No, I'll still take it.
then Sky Hunter, then Boy Q.
All right. Starting from the bottom for me, I'm going to go with ScHoolboy Q. Then I'm going to throw Magic Mountain, then Still House Plants. Then I'll throw a Sky 100 there. Or no, I'm going to go Road to El Dorado, then Sky 100. Because it's not an evolution, but it's still enjoyable.
It's still Parannoul.
Yeah. Then I'll throw. Let's see. So it was ScHoolboy Q. I'm already forgetting my order. It's almost 5 in the morning. Yeah, ScHoolboy Q, Magic Mountain, Still Houseplants, Sky 100, or El Dorado, then Sky 100.
Which means you got Boyscott and Scattersun.
Then I'm going to throw Scattersun at 2 and Boyscott at number 1.
Dominic, you were robbed of a universal number 1 by Trix's own ego. But you did get the universal number 7.
What a consolation.
Which will actually segue perfectly into my picks for next week.
Right,
because believe it or not, ScHoolboy Q is the link to my pick with next week.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia.
That was bound to happen.
Yeah, my 3rd hip hop pick.
Do you have anything else or just Chromacopia?
And then I'm also going to do Sliff's Alien.
Oh, that's right. Swift had in your album this year.
Yes.
All right.
Dominic, you sound like you were about to go.
All right, I can go now.
Yeah.
We have unfinished business. I'm just gonna let this go end of the year, but I have an idea of how I want to position these things now that the election is.
Feel the way I do.
Need to re-examine some things. So, my first thing is Brat, and it's completely different, and also still Brat.
Okay.
LeMayo.
So, with that, we're gonna cut out the part where the original Brat is on. It's like a disc 2 thing. We're gonna do the extra tracks that we didn't do the first time around by Gas and Breakers,
Yep.
the remixes. But imagine as if we are surgically we're cutting out the original Brat from Brat, and it's different. And in its place, we are going to insert Origami Angel's.
I figured that would be something you would pick. I was like, there was a bunch of stuff we might not pick, and I was like, Origami Angel might be one of them. And like, no, there's no way Dominic doesn't pick Origami Angel.
I was gonna let it hang until the end of the year. I think Feeling Not Found helps summarize some of the things that I've been feeling.
Well, I've got no real context going into my picks, so I'm just gonna say them. Hey, I love you. Hey, I love you. Mount Erie Palace or Night Palace.
All right.
What is it's called Night Palace?
Yep. It's a new Mount Erie. It's a new Hey, I love you. I don't need the context for them. We've covered both of these artists well enough.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm going to get ready to cry.
That leaves us with Tyler, the Creator's from Lifts, Origami Angel, Charlie XCX's Brat, and it's different. Also still, Hey, I love you's Hey, I loathe you.
Okay, shouldn't we just call it for this case though? A Brat, but it's completely different because we're not doing the still Brat part.
Brat is completely different.
Yeah.
It's also Origami Angel.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, it's great when we found the fucking album title before we did the episode.
Yeah.
Alright, that's gonna be us this week. That's good. Haven't had a long one in a minute. I've been Dominic.
No, yeah.
And at TACICH on Twitter if you must. I should get like a blue sky.
Yeah.
Twitter's been great for porn.
Yeah.
I think we have.
I'm still.
This in a way, don't we?
We do. I haven't updated it in a minute.
Should start doing.
Yeah.
I'm also on the Games My Mom Found podcast sometimes. We're going to record a Kingdom Hearts very soon. Forward to that.
I've been Midland. You can catch me at the dentist's office, probably every Tuesday at this point.
I have been Trix, and you can catch me at Cannes Film Festival showing off my Vine-length sex tape that's a Shudder exclusive.
Joking.
There's a couple
Trix-
jokes in there with Shudder exclusive being the horror movie streaming service.
Trix, can we just
And
be
Vine
honest
length.
for like 10 seconds here? There was only
Yeah.
one festival that we're seeing you at, and that's the meeting of the Juggalos.
Honestly, I would be game to go for the fucking podcast. So I think that should be something Dominic and I try and do at some point. Because yes, I'm roping you into this, Domino. I need somebody to hold the camera.
We have
The best-
answer.
We
You know
have
what's
to go
great
to
about the
Gathering of
meeting of-
Juggalos.
You know what's great about the Gathering of the Juggalos, Trix? You two could walk around naked and you wouldn't stand out at all.
We wouldn't.
Oh God. So many doors.
We're gonna have to cover Insane Clown Posse at some point.
Yeah,
Whoop,
I
whoop.
don't think there's any doors at the Gathering of the Juggalos. I think it's just those like kind of like bean things that beads and shit that they have and draped over.
Tense.
Yeah.
Well, not covering ICP. Of the creator for the first.
Yes. I'm trying to break the stigma that I do. Hi, my name is Trix, and I'm here to stay. Hip hop music.
I think it's Brooklyn Vegan that does the Gathering of the Juggalos pictures. By the way, yes, it is, and it's completely wild. I know we've gone into a complete Gathering of the Juggalos, but all these men and stuff out there who are complaining that they can't ever get tits and stuff. Just go to a Gathering of the Juggalos, and there was 1,000 of them out there, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You realize that all it takes is a little bit of creativity and something.
No, granted, still in these cases, these people don't want you touching them without consent.
Absolutely.
No, that's up to be said there. These tits aren't for free, but judging by how some of them are acting, they might be a lot more willing for sexual content than, say, other festivals.
Whoop whoop.
Magnets, how do they work?
Oh, hold on, wait,
That'll
shit.
be all.
I found a picture of Trix. Well, Trix in 10 years.
Let's see this. Yeah.
So it's just a woman in mesh bikini soaking a very large joint.
I'm reminded it's nothing like it, but I am reminded. That's
Yeah, my forearm sized burrito.
hey, there's our image art.
Yeah.
I love that there's just randomly a picture in this Gathering of the Juggalos. It's a 2024 one, by the way, and it's just a kid as Spider-Man. It's
Hell
the most
yeah.
safe for work pick on here. It's adorable.
Hell yeah.
The kids want to enjoy ICP, and they're not going to age concert gathering.
No, they want as much people as possible. You know what? I fuck with that. Which usually, I mean, the way that some of these people act at these things, I don't know. Kids should really be there, but it's not really my take to do that because I don't go to the Gathering of the Juggalos.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you bring your kid there, I mean, at some point that's on you.
Yeah.
No one should have to
Indeed.
change how they are because you decide because you love ICP.
Yeah.
Just keep Timmy away from the
Keep Timmy away from the titties.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say from the jelly wrestling, and you should be fine.
Yeah. We'll pop some
But
Fago.
But there are, you know how you just said pop some Fago?
Yeah.
Well, here's a fucking picture of a goddamn stripper with Fago bottles up her ass.
Of course there is.
Of course. Fago is like one of the things about ICP.
It is.
Yeah, but you said that just as I scrolled to that image.
I love dollar.
Timmy, don't look at this. Timmy, don't.
I love that we have other people in this Discord server see this.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna understand this is the insane clown posse. All I have to do is just post one image of a juggalo. It'll be fine.
Trifecta.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a wet t-shirt concert, there's everything. Okay, this one almost kind of looks like Trix in a way. So maybe this is you in 10 years.
Maybe. Let's see.
Anyway, we've been Dissonant Waves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody.
Whoop whoop. Does kind of look like me.
Hey, everybody can enjoy some
Yeah,
ICP is for the people.
as they say.
We're gonna get out of here.
Bye, y'all.